Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the 2025-2026 preseason town hall for Maverick Volleyball. My name is Yella. I'm the technical director for the club, and I'm excited to be able to speak to all of you tonight about the upcoming season. We're just making sure on the back end that we got everything working before we fully get started. As you saw in our previous slide, if you weren't aware yet, on August 16th, we are celebrating our 40th anniversary. If you haven't gotten your tickets yet, please do so. You can scan the QR code and go and get your tickets for MavsFest right now. Okay. With that being said, we'll get into our preseason town hall meeting. Before we get there, want to remind everyone that's on the call about Maverick's mission and vision. And our mission is really to foster a passion for volleyball while instilling valuable life skills and behaviors. So what you'll see throughout the presentation tonight is our view of what that looks like. And we're really excited to present new initiatives that I think will help us move towards that mission, but also continuing things that we have been doing in the past in the last 40 years that are already doing that. And our vision is really, we want to see thriving communities that are inspired by exceptional Mavericks for our athletes, for our coaches, and for everyone that's involved with the organization to really be an inspiring influence on the communities that they are in, whether that's a volleyball community or any other community. So what can you expect from tonight's meeting? First of all, I want to be able to present all the Maverick programs. So everything that we offer, whether it's if it's your first time getting onto the court, playing volleyball, to you've been playing this sport for years and years and years, and you are competing at a high level. We also will talk about the projected program distributions. And at this point, I want to acknowledge that we know that there have been some concerns about our program distribution and that people have reached out to us asking questions and asking explanations on our program distribution, and that we want to make sure that we have the time and the opportunity tonight to talk about our decision-making process and what that looks like and how we got to some of these distributions. We also are excited to announce a lot of the coaches that will be coaching our national and provincial programs next year. We will talk about new initiatives. After that, we'll talk a little bit more specifically about tryouts, what you should expect, what steps are to take before you can attend tryouts, but also how to sign up and all those kinds of things. And if there's any other key dates and events, we'll mention that. And we'll end the night with an opportunity for us to answer questions that are asked. And that brings me to the main feature and the way that you can interact with tonight's town hall, which is through the Q&A function on Teams. If you look at the top of your screen, or it might be at the bottom of your screen, depending on what device you are on, you'll see a button that says Q&A. If you click on it, you'll see that you have the opportunity to ask questions. And when you ask a question, I'm not the only one on this call. There's a variety of our staff that are here to help you answer those questions. So whether you have questions about when or how to sign up, whether you have questions about locations, whether you have questions about what kind of programs we have, or any other questions that you have about our programming and about our organization, feel free to put those in the Q&A, and we will try and get to your question as quickly as possible. If there are any specific questions that the program coordinators and managers feel like need to be discussed in a more central way, they will bring it to me and I will be able to discuss it, or I will be able to call upon the staff member that can give the best answer to that question. and I can bring them onto the screen and allow them to answer the question. Like I said, if it's relevant to more people than just yourself. So please use the Q&A function and try to make sure that you get an answer to your question. If there's a lot of them, please give us some time to get through them. But we do really want to make sure that we can get to everyone. To start off, I really want to give an overview of what are the programs that we run at Maverick Volleyball. We have divided our programs in 5 different levels, and each level has a unique opportunity and has a unique function within the development of athletes and in the way that athletes engage with the sport. The main thing to start off with is that our 5 levels of programming are divided into competitive and local programs. Local programs, as the name suggests, are community-based programs. If you look at our Learn to Play and recreational programs, you'll see that we offer them throughout the city, and as you will see later, a little bit beyond. And the goal for Learn to Play and recreational programs is really for people to get into volleyball, to enjoy the sport in an organized manner. And we hope to bring these programs as close to where you live as possible. On the other side, we have our 3 levels of competitive programs. These are programs that are geared towards athletes who are interested in playing volleyball a little bit more seriously and wants to become a little bit more competitive when doing so. Contrary to our local programs, which are programs where you can go onto our website at any point and you can sign up to them, and once you sign up, you have your spot in your program and you come out and play. Our competitive programs require tryouts. So as I'm going to talk about tryouts later on in the meeting, really be aware that competitive tryouts are only for the regional, provincial, and national programs. If you are interested in the Learn to Play and recreational programs, you do not have to attend tryouts. You can go onto our website and you can go and sign up for those programs. We're really excited that we'll be opening up our registrations during this meeting. When that time is ready, we will post the links in the chat function as well, so that you can go straight and sign up for these programs. If we go into a little bit more detail about each program, we can start with our Learn to Play program. Our Learn to Play programs, first of all, they are managed by Evan Lockwood. If you have any questions about these programs, you can see his email on screen. He's also on the meeting right now, so if you have specific questions about Learn to Play, feel free to put it in the Q&A, and Evan can give you an answer about the program. And our program coordinator is Alana White, and you see her email on screen as well. The overall goal for our Learn to Play programs is an introduction to the sport of volleyball in a fun and safe environment. These programs run once a week. There is no formal competition involved in the program. However, that does not mean that there won't be gameplay scenarios within the program. We have a variety of different programs for kids aged 6 to 18. And the programs run in what we call blocks or programs of 7 weeks. And we run 5 of those blocks throughout the year. You sign up for a specific block, you go to your program, you participate in the program once a week. And if you want to continue, you can sign up for another block. If you want to try a different program, you can do that. If you feel like volleyball wasn't for you and you want to go play a different sport, you can go and do that as well. As I mentioned earlier, there are no entry requirements for our Learn to Play programs. These are, for a lot of athletes, their first introduction into the sport of volleyball. But for some athletes, especially at the younger ages, they may also be the first introduction into organized sports in general. Therefore, we really don't have any entry requirements, no prior experience in volleyball, no prior experience in terms of skills or anything like that is required. The costs depend a little bit on the program that you attend, but they're anywhere between $195 and $260 per block. We run 3 different Learn to Play programs, and each of those you can identify by the name fundamentals. And fundamentals is a term that comes out of the long-term development model that we're using for these entry-level, these introductory level programs. Our fundamental Smash Ball is geared towards athletes 6 to 9 years old, and Smash Ball is a specialized variant of volleyball for younger kids that focuses on what most people describe as the most fun part of volleyball, which is the attack or the smash. Furthermore, we have Fundamentals Learn and Fundamentals Train, which are more geared towards athletes 10 to 13 and 14 to 17, respectively. If we look at the second type of program in our local programs, we get to the recreational programs. These are also managed by Evan and Alana, and the recreational programs really are geared to further develop volleyball and athletic skills. Many athletes will start within our organization in a Learn to Play program where they get introduced to the sport for the first time. And after that, they will move on to the recreational level. The characteristics of Learn to Play and recreational are fairly similar. There's 1 practice a week. There's no formalized competition. However, in the recreational programs, there is a bit more space and a bit more time for gameplay-focused drills. You can think about small 2 versus 2 games or 3 versus 3, or modified a gameplay with more players on the court. We offer these programs for athletes aged 9 to 18. In terms of the way that they're structured, they're very similar in terms of blocks consisting of 7 weeks, of which we run 5 during the year. The entry requirements change a little bit at the recreational level to make sure that athletes really get their fundamentals down. We operate on an idea of, for you to go into a recreational program, you need to have graduated from a Learn to Play. What that means is that you have participated and have learned the skills that we teach in a Learn to Play program, or you have learned those skills somewhere else in a different program or a different maybe at a school team or something like that. When signing up, there is no restriction on signing up for a recreational program. We just ask parents and athletes to self-evaluate and say, do I have the skills? Do I have some fundamental skills that allow me to go into a recreational program? If this is the first time I'm playing volleyball, I don't really have that many skills yet, we would highly recommend going into a Learn to Play program, as they would be more suitable for that part of the development. And the costs for a recreational program are $260 per block. If you look on the right, you can see some of the terminology that we have for our programs. The main ones that I will point out is the difference between Train and Play and Game On. These are both programs that are geared towards athletes aged roughly 14 to 18. The big difference is that Train and Play is a program that is a bit more drill-based, so more working on skills, developing the skills and improving those, where the Game On program is a little bit more geared towards gameplay and tactics. So depending on what you're looking for in terms of your program, you can make a decision on whether Train and Play or Game On would be the best option for you. So Learn to Play and recreational are our local programs where you can go and sign up and you play once a week. When we go to our next program, now we're moving into our competitive programs. And so you'll see when we look at the entry requirements that tryouts will now become a requirement. Our entry-level competitive program is our regional level, or more often referred to as the regional training center. This is a competitive program that functions within the region and organizes internal competitions. So now there's formalized competition opportunities, which is different from our local programs. The way that the Regional Training Center works is that there's 2 sessions each week, one of which is a practice session and one of which is a competition opportunity. Within the Regional Training Center, athletes will be divided into different squads after a small training period of about 4 weeks. These teams are the ones that compete against each other in both the internal league and in the tournaments that we host. What is really exciting about the Regional Training Center is that we're not only offering it in one location. Depending on the age group, as you can see on the right, we have a variety of age groups, and we're really excited to be offering the Regional Training Center at all of the age groups that we offer competitive programming at. We offer those at different locations throughout the city as well. If you are looking for more information on the specific locations for specific age groups and stuff like that, not only will we be posting that information on the website, but also feel free to reach out to the program manager for the Regional Training Centers, which is Anthony Ha, or the program coordinator, which is Tracy Bradley, and their emails are on screen as well. The final important piece about the Regional Training Center is that it runs in 2 periods of 12 weeks. The first one, which is called the Fall Regional Training Center, runs from the end of tryouts, so about the 3rd week of September, until just before the holidays. And then the second, which is called the Winter Regional Training Center, runs from February until the end of the season for 12 weeks. There's an opportunity to be selected for the Regional Training Center at both those times. So if you are interested in a competitive program and you want to join the Regional Training Center, you will sign up for fall tryouts. If you are successful and you get selected into the Regional Training Center, amazing. You will participate in the fall RTC. If you weren't successful in the fall and you're still interested in joining, there will be another tryout in January for spots in the Winter Regional Training Center. So if you're interested in competitive and you were not selected at the fall tryouts, please be aware that there's another opportunity in January to try out and get selected for a spot on the Regional Training Center. In terms of the costs, they're not completely finalized yet. It is about $1,300 per period. And like I said, that includes things like the internal league, the tournaments, the practice, coaching, and everything you need to make your experience, your competitive experience, as great as possible. Furthermore, we will also be offering optional strength and conditioning training through the Regional Training Center in the upcoming season. This is an opt-in extra that you as an individual can purchase, that is run through one of our partners, which is very exciting. It will be held on a different night. However, the session of strength and conditioning that you will go to will only have Maverick Regional Training Center athletes in it. They may not be from the same squad that you're on or even from the same location or age group, but you know that when you go there, it is a Maverick specific strength and conditioning program that you can attend, which makes it specific to volleyball and specific to the development phase that you are in at that point. More details on that will be following as the summer progresses, but it's a really exciting opportunity to add more to your Regional Training Center experience. However, if you are not interested in that and you want to stick to the base program, that is perfectly fine as well. Moving on from the Regional Training Center, our next competitive program are our provincial teams. And the goal of the provincial teams is it's aimed as an intermediate level competitive program. This is the first program on our out of our 5 levels of programming that compete externally. So they compete in the OVA. or in Volleyball Quebec in certain circumstances, although most, if not the majority of the teams will be competing in the Ontario Volleyball Association. Our provincial teams are geared towards athletes who have the ability and the talent to compete at a higher competitive level, but also may be interested in doing other things, and want to have that experience of competing in external tournaments. Very similar to the regional training center, 2 practices a week. However, our provincial teams are selected in the tryouts in the fall, so the ones coming up in September, and that program runs for a full season. So that will run from September all the way to April or May, depending on when the last competitions are. For our provincial teams, if you have any questions about it, if you have any questions about the technical side of it, so the volleyball side of it, feel free to reach out to the technical lead for that program, Tyson Rafi. If you have any questions about the administrative part of that, please reach out to our program coordinator, Paula. And if you have any questions about OVA questions and stuff like that, feel free to reach out to our client liaison officer with the OVA, Volleyball Canada, and other jurisdictions, Bridget. All their emails are on screen as well. And finally, about our provincial teams, and I'll talk a little bit about that on why there are no provincial teams at the 13U level. This has to do with a new initiative called Project Rodeo. We will talk about that a little bit later. So you'll see in the program distributions that there are national teams and regional teams at the 13U level, but no provincial teams. In the past, we have had the situation where all our 13U teams were called provincial and we did not have national. For consistency's sake, we're using the name national for our OVA competing 13U teams in this season. And our 5th level are our national teams. And our national teams are the top level competitive programs that are aimed for athletes who have the ability and the determination to compete at the next level. You can think of the national teams as the start of the development pathway towards post-secondary play, professional play, and national team play, so international level play. Our technical lead for this program is not returning next year. We are still looking to fill that position for now. If you have any questions about the technical side of the national program, please reach out to me. If you have any questions about the administrative side, please reach out to Paula. And if you have any questions, just like with the provincial programs about the OVA or Volleyball Canada, please reach out to Bridget. And again, all our emails are on screen as well. The national teams function a little bit differently to the provincial teams, where we make more content and more hours mandatory. So for instance, the national teams practice 3 times a week. We expect all our national teams to compete in OVA tournaments, to compete in provincials, although our provincial teams also compete in provincials. But all our national teams are also required to compete in Volleyball Canada Nationals. And the majority of national teams will also be attending tournaments that are further away. So you can imagine tournaments out west, tournament out east, or tournaments in the States as well, or other competition opportunities if they come up and if they fit into the yearly training plan for these programs. They are full season programs, and therefore selections are made at fall tryouts, just like the provincial teams. And because of the additional practices and other content that I'll talk about in a second, the average price for a national team is about $3,700. However, it ranges more between $2,200 on the low end to just over $5,000 on the high end for a national team. The costs really are determined a lot by the amount of travel that's required to attend all the events that are in the national program. So, for instance, we've had the fortune of 14U nationals being in Ottawa for several years now. That will remain so for some of the 14U, for the 14U girls, but not for the 14U boys as it stands right now. But any nationals that are 15U and up in the last few years have been out west. And so it requires a lot more travel. And that's why the range in the costs for the national teams is quite a bit different. Some additional content that is included for the national teams. There is mandatory strength and conditioning that is offered twice a week. So on top of the 3 practices a week, there is mandatory strength and conditioning twice a week. And this year we will also be offering optional mental performance training for the national teams and interested provincial teams as well. The optional part will be a discussion between the parents, the coaches, and the providers for the mental performance training, whether you want to add that to your program at this time. So there's a lot more expectation in terms of the commitment, the hours needed to complete and to participate and to compete in the national team compared to the provincial team, and obviously the regional training center and our local programs as well. And as I mentioned just a little bit before, we'll be offering national programs all the way from 13U to 18U at both genders as well. Which brings me to the projected program distribution. And before I show the distribution for each of the genders and our mixed programs, and I'll explain a little bit about our mixed programs when we get there, I think it is important to recognize what our determining factors are for a program distribution. What we've been doing in terms of how we make our distributions, it's really about a combination of the demand at a different age group and gender, the relative strength of that cohort compared to the competition, but also the athletes that we have in those cohorts and where they are going in terms of their development. And then obviously also in terms of a big factor is also our resources. We are limited in terms of the amount of gym space we have, the number of coaches we have, and also how much as an organization we can support from an admin and a technical perspective as well. We want to make sure that our programs are of the highest quality. And so balancing all these factors is the biggest challenge for us in terms of figuring out the program distribution. The key part in all of this, and I mentioned the demand, is that this is a projected program distribution based on historical demands. If we see very different demands through our tryout signups, we will look at our program distribution and see if we need to make any changes. With the number of resources available, we could be looking at adding teams or changing teams when registrations are lower or higher at certain teams, or if we see a different composition within a cohort, we might look at changing the number of regional, provincial, and national teams that we have at each age group. So looking at how are we distributing our competitive levels within that demand. So with that being said, the current projected distribution on the girls' side looks as follows. What's really exciting about our program distribution for this year is that we're offering, or we're hoping to be able to offer, we're projecting to offer more competitive spots across the board this year than we have ever had, like we've ever done in our 40-year or 41-year history at this point. And so we're excited to be able to offer more opportunities for kids to play competitive volleyball who are interested in that. As you'll probably note, there's an asterisk at the 16U girls level. The second national team will be determined, the level of that, whether it's national or provincial, will be determined at tryouts. In an Instagram post that we did a couple of weeks ago, it was marked as a provincial team, but with further discussion, we've decided that we want to make sure that that is the right decision. And so we'll be making that distribution based on the athletes at tryouts, but also based on other factors, like I said, like the resources and stuff like that. If we are moving some other teams or we are having to cut some other teams because we don't have enough demand. If we move over to the boys' side, we're very excited about the growth on the boys' side, and it's really awesome to see. And finally, like I mentioned mixed programs, and I haven't really touched on this up until this point. Our 11 and 12U competitive programs are a mixed program. So what that means is that we will track tryouts gender separated. So when you sign up for tryouts, you will still need to be signing up for either boys or girls. But these programs will function as a co-ed program. So we're looking for 32 athletes at the 11 and 12U combined of both genders. The main reason for this is that when we look at development phases and peak growth, and when that is happening is that under the age of 12U, so 11-year-olds that are turning 12, there's no real discrepancy between the development of boys and girls. And so the recommendation at this age group is to keep everyone together. So that's why you'll potentially see our 11-12U being a co-ed program. If we move on from the predicted tryout program distribution and we look at our coaches, it's really exciting to see the number of coaches that we've already been able to confirm. If we look at the girls' side, we have already confirmed 26 out of the 38 head coaches, and that's across all competitive levels. So regional, provincial, and national, as well as being able to already have confirmed many assistant coaches as well. If you see in any of these overviews the notation PC confirmed at tryouts, that indicates that we have a parent coach that is a qualified coach that is interested in coaching within the age group. But as they are a parent coach, their assignment will often depend on whether or where their child gets selected. And to make sure that we are not biasing anyone with their evaluations of athletes or their perception of our tryout process, we're not disclosing at this time who these coaches are, to make sure that we can go through the tryout process in a fair way. We will make those decisions on what team is coached by what coach at the end of tryouts. So for instance, you see it here at the 16U Aces, but you'll see a couple more at this time as well. Alternatively, when you see a TBD in that is a spot that we're still looking for coaches to be filled. If you are interested in coaching with us, please reach out. You can send me an email, or you can just reach out to our info box. If you have experience coaching or you want to get into coaching, we're always looking for enthusiastic and knowledgeable people to coach as well. If we move on to the boys' side, we've already confirmed 16 out of the 25 head coaches in all of our 3 competitive programs. And you'll see similar things here in terms of parent coaches. And we're still looking for coaches, especially at the 15, 14, and 13U boys age groups. We would like to get as many coaches as possible so that we can run our programs and we don't end up in a situation where we cannot run these teams because we do not have qualified coaches. So I'll say again, if you are interested in coaching, please reach out to us when you can. This brings me on to the next portion of this presentation, which is our new initiatives. And this is also why I'll be able to hand over to some people that have been working on some really, really cool initiatives in the background. So I'll be bringing some people onto the screen to talk about these new initiatives. But really, these are all initiatives that are hoping to further increase our ability to execute our mission. Start off, I will be bringing on Nicolas Morin to talk about our plans to operate programs in Gatineau.
Hi there. All right. Well, super excited to be talking about this program. If you'll allow me, I'm going to be switching into French just to explain these different programs. Alors, c'est la première fois que les Mavericks vont offrir de la programmation du côté québécois. Vraiment avec le but d'encourager le grandissement de le volleyball dans la région d'Outaouais, autant que donner une option francophone pour des athlètes d'Ottawa qui veulent venir retrouver des programmes dans leur langue. Au début, on a 6 programmes qu'on offre. Alors, comme vous voyez sur l'écran, l'école Lord Elmer, qui est à Elmer, l'école Petit Prince à Gatineau et l'école Buckingham Elementary à Buckingham. C'est 6 programmes indépendants. Alors, essentiellement, on a 6 groupes différents qui vont commencer notre première cohorte et on espère grandir de là. Alors, ça va tout répondre à nos besoins Learn to Play dans la région Gatineau. Encore une fois, avec un emphase sur l'enseignement en français.
Thank you, Nick. And one of our next other new initiatives is a new project that will be launched with the 13U competitive programs. And to talk about that, I will be handing it over to Greg.
Thanks, Yella. Good evening, everyone. So I don't know if, well, I think everyone's noticed that the world is becoming quite volatile, lots of things changing. And it's really important that we prepare the athletes and everyone for what is, I think, going to be some turbulent times coming up if we're not already in them. And for many years, I think our club has done a fantastic job at developing fantastic athletes. And coaches have also been working to help develop, great people. And for 40 years, I think that's been happening just by happenstance. And what we decided to start this year with our youngest cohort, 13U, is to codify and put into practice some of those important skills and behaviors that are going to help these kids succeed when they get out of the club. And for when we think about what we've done in the past, we've had difficulty in sort of making consistent approaches to how we deal with kids and teaching them to become good team members, or teaching kids how to learn to compete properly, or teaching them how to grow as athletes and as people. And so with the help of some mental performance coaches and others to develop a curriculum, we're going to put into place in the 13U group 9 particular skills and behaviors that will, we hope, help develop these kids and give them the skills to succeed in the future. And those 9 skills are basically broken down into 3 things. Foundations of a strong team. So, it's important to be punctual and be respectful and be inspiring. Foundations of play and competition: be prepared, be present, and be brave. As Mavericks, we're courageous. We always try something new, and we think that fortune favors the bold. It's important that the kids learn that they can, go out and try something, and they're going to succeed sometimes. Maybe they won't succeed all the time, but it's best to give it a shot. And then foundations of growth: be reflective, be grateful, and be patient. So we're going to take this, and we're going to be teaching the 13U cohort competitive kids, which is about 92 athletes, these skills through micro learning sessions and a few other more scheduled activities that we haven't done in the past. So we expect that over the next 5 years, this new Maverick way of doing business will sort of come through the club, such that starting with this 13U cohort as the new group. So in 5 years' time, when these kids leave, we hope that we will see that they've got not only the fantastic skills and capabilities as athletes, but we'll also be helping to develop great folks that are going to go out and continue the mission and vision of that we have for the club. There is an information session planned for 13U athlete parents Thursday, August 7th, and we'll be able to give a lot more details around what we're doing there at 7 p.m. If you'd like and you want to make sure you get notified of the links, and we'll post them in news stories and things like that, but the details for the phone or for the meeting, you can go to our homepage, scroll to the bottom. There's a newsletter link. If you or icon. If you click on that and sign up, there's a new 13U program, competitive program newsletter that you can sign up for, and you'll receive all the details about the program as they become available. That's it for the 13U competitive program. Very excited to get it launched, and it's one of many initiatives that we're actually putting into the club this year. The other one is, as Yella's brought up, is our new Learn to Referee program. So volleyball is a community, and our club has been very, very focused on producing great athletes. But we've realized that there's a lot more to, making volleyball happen. It's just not playing on the court. It's administrators, it's coaches, and of course, it's referees. And learning to referee is, it's one thing to sort of play the rules of the game, but it's really about learning to manage people, learning to deal with difficult situations, learning to organize things. And so the skills that the kids come away with by going and learning how to referee are hugely transferable into the real world once they leave. Now, in Ottawa, we're blessed with some fantastic referees, and for those kids that actually continue to continue to go further and further in the ranks, there's opportunities to play, to referee at the Olympics and do things like that. You can always go out and just learn to referee and follow the usual refereeing courses. But what we're really concerned with is we want to make sure that the kids are introduced in a safe environment where they can actually get the proper mentoring, and we can teach them using whatever learning preferences work for them. And they're actually also part of the community, which is really important in refereeing, that you kind of build a group of friends as you go through and learn all of the difficult things you have to do in running matches, and having that support group is important. Once the program's finished, and it's, of course, we're going to take 16 kids. You have to be 16 years of age to do it, to get certified. And the program will start after September 28th. So for those of you who are interested, you can, offer letters for 16U. We'll go out a couple of weeks before that, or a week at least. And for those who also want to participate in this, you're welcome to apply for that as well. Once they're finished the 12 weeks, then the following thereafter, they will be employed doing refereeing within the club, but they will also get a chance to referee outside. The referees that come out of this program are, considered as much of the club as the athletes or coaches. And so we're really just trying to round out all of the things that we need to, make a great volleyball community that involves all of those specialties, but also give kids a chance to, for those who love the sport, but maybe, they're not ready to continue, or they're not interested in playing at a higher level, they have other options or other things they want to do, this is a great way of making a few extra dollars on the side and also learn all of those really important skills and behaviors that will help them post this. So we'll, I haven't seen the Q&A, but we'll get in there. And if there are any questions, there's also an information session coming up on Sunday, August 24th, where we can provide all the details and you can ask all the questions you may have. That's it. Thanks, Yella.
Thank you, Greg. Now that we've given, I think, as much as it's an overview at a glance, but try to give an overview of what programs and opportunities we are going to run for everyone in the upcoming season. Now it turns to how do you register, what do you register, and stuff like that. There's a couple of changes, but the key information that you can have right now is that our block 1, so this is for our local programs, will run from September 21st and November 10th, and registration for those is open now. You can go onto the website and register, and I think we'll be able to post the link to that registration as well in the chat and in the Q&A. So if you're interested in local programs, you can sign up for those during this meeting or right after. I will point out that for all our local programs, those are first come, first served programs that will go to a wait list if if the program is full. In terms of the competitive tryouts, that registration is also open, and I think links will also be will be posted as well. I will be providing more information about tryouts, and registration for competitive tryouts is not first come, first serve. So you can wait if you to hear that information before signing up. A couple of things that you'll notice about our competitive or tryout registration is that it's age restricted. You will be forced based on your age on a certain day to sign up for a certain age group. I saw in the Q&A that Anthony has already posted the age groups in the Q&A as a pinned post. So if you're looking for the correct age group, you can go in there. Everyone, regardless of whether you are able or allowed to play down or have played up an age group in the past, will have to sign up at their true age group. And like I said, our registration system will force that as well. We have early bird pricing for our tryouts up until August 11th. So if you want to make sure that you get the early bird price, make sure to sign up before that. For the returning athletes and parents for both our local and our competitive programs, we have a new registration for all our programs for the upcoming season. We are going to be working with league apps. So make sure to follow the links that are posted in the Q&A right now, or through our website. If you have the link to our registration from previous years, like saved in your browser or something like that, you might not end up in the right spot. It will look a little bit different, but all our programs are the same. If you have any questions or you have issues with the registration platform, feel free to reach out to the people that I was talking about earlier when I was going over all of the programs. They can help you. Or if you don't remember, you're not sure who to reach out, you can always reach out to our info@maverickvolleyball.ca email address as well. And we will be able to distribute your question to the right person. Obviously, if you're trying to do some things while we're on this meeting, you can also just ask in the Q&A if you have any issues with those things. So as I mentioned, we have new league apps. It will be replacing both Team Snap and Amelia, so both the registration platforms that you've used before. So whether you have been with us as a competitive or as a local athlete, it will look a little bit You may need to download an app on your phone that has a schedule, all those kinds of things. You can also access your schedule, your payment information, the programs you signed up for, all those kinds of things on a desktop version as well. But for the most up-to-date information on locations, on registration, on payments, all that kind of stuff, we definitely recommend going through the online portal. So whether that's the app, the League Apps app, or on desktop, you'll be directed to that environment after you've registered as well. If you are downloading the app, make sure you have updated to the latest version of the App Store, of the Play app in the App Store or the Google Play Store. We will post a link as well if you have any questions about League Apps and a guide for parents and players that guides you a little bit through what to expect, how it looks, where you can find all the information and stuff like that. As always, if you cannot, if you have questions or you're getting stuck, just make sure to reach out to us and we can help you along as well. And now that now that registrations have opened and people can sign up, the final portion of tonight's meeting is really about the tryout process. If you were here to get information about our programs and you've made a decision, or you have decided that the local programs or Learn to Play and recreational programs are the best for you, and you want to sign up for those, and maybe you're already on the sign up page to look at where the programs are close to you in your community, this portion does not necessarily have any useful information for you. This is purely tryouts for our competitive programs, for our regional, provincial, and national programs. Obviously, you're more than welcome to stick around and listen to how our processes work, but tryouts are specific to our competitive programs. To start off with, I want to give a timeline of what steps you need to go through when signing up and attending tryouts. There's 4 kind of general steps that you need to complete to be able to attend tryouts and be considered to be selected for a program. The first step is the one that we've just opened, which is you need to register for tryouts. So our 2025-2026 competitive registration, you can go to the link that I believe has been posted at this point. And you have until September 1st to sign up for tryouts. If you sign up for August 11th, you will get the early bird pricing. If you sign up after August 11th, you obviously will not. So that's the first step. You need to make sure that you sign up for our tryouts. The second step is also a step that you do at home online, which is on September 1st, and you cannot do this step before September 1st. It's important to recognize that is you need to complete what is called the MRS registration. This is with the Ontario Volleyball Association, and it makes sure that you are correctly registered as a tryout athlete with the OVA. I'll have some more details on that in a second. But I just want to point out as a start, this cannot be done before September 1st. Their new season starts on September 1st. So if you do it before September 1st, your registration will go away and it will not count. You need to have this registration when you get to the third step, which is the check-in event. This is a new thing that we're doing this year to help streamline the tryout process and make sure that we can efficiently evaluate all of our athletes. So on 3 separate nights from September 2nd to September 4th, we will have check-in events. These are very similar to a bib pickup event that you'll have at major races like the Ottawa Race Weekend. I will again provide some information about the locations and the times for those as well. You can go to any of them. You just have to show up and you have to verify that you're registered for tryouts. So that first step, you have to show us that you are registered in MRS. We need to verify that. You will try on our uniform so that we know what sizing you have in the case that you get selected for a competitive program. And at that same time, you will collect your bib number and you will collect your tryout t-shirt. So with the registration for tryouts, included in that is a tryout t-shirt that you should wear during tryouts with the bib number. Obviously, if you do not have a bib number when you get to the final step, we are not able to accurately process your data and won't be able to assess you effectively. So you need to make sure that you go to one of these check-in events. And for obviously the majority of parents on this call, you'll need to go with your child to this event because they'll have to try on the sizing. You cannot go and pick up the bib or the t-shirt for somebody else. And then obviously the final step is from September 5th to September 14th is when the actual tryouts are happening. During that portion, you will be doing physical testing, a fundamental skill assessment, and then potentially a national or provincial assessment. And I'll get into a little bit more details about those. But generally speaking, these are the 4 steps that you need to complete, and the dates between which or after which you have to complete these. So as I mentioned, the MRS registration, starting on September 1st, all tryout athletes must register with the OVA. You cannot participate in tryouts if you do not. The link to the registration is there. However, we will also send out a reminder email to everyone on September 1st that has already signed up for tryouts. If you've done this before, you will have a username. You can log in using the same information. If you are new, if you've never done an MRS registration, you create a login with the athlete's name. This is very important. If you create an account with the parent's name, your athlete will be in the system under your name rather than their own name, and it can create difficult situations. The contact email can be your own instead of a specific one for your child. You'll have to complete some waivers, and then the most important part is you select the tryout player option. This registration is free. You should never have to pay anything for this part of the MRS registration. If it prompts you to pay something, something has gone wrong and you need to go back, or you need to reach out to us to ask for help. So again, quick recap, this has to be done on after September 1st or on or after September 1st. And make sure to sign up with the athlete's name and make sure you don't pay anything when you do it. Which brings us to our check-in events. As I mentioned, these are similar type events to a bib pickup for events that required it, like the Ottawa race weekend. We verify registration. We make sure that we size for the different uniforms so that we have that. You pick up your t-shirt and you pick up your bib. You can come at any time at any of these locations on these 3 specific days. On September 2nd at the Nepean Sportsplex from 6 to 10 p.m. On September 3rd at Franco Cité High School from 6 to 10 p.m. And on September 4th at Bob Macquarie Community Center, also from 6 to 10. We've really tried hard to offer options both in the west, centrally, and in the east of the city to limit the travel, but you can go to any of these locations that is most convenient to you. You have to go to one of them. You have to make sure you're picking up your bib, you do your uniform sizing, we need to verify your registration, etc. And just a final reminder, you cannot, as a parent, you cannot go and do this for your child. You'll have to go together as they have to try on uniform options. After you've done the check-in event, now we get into the actual tryouts. And I'll try to explain this as best as possible. Our tryout process consists of a couple of steps. The first 2 steps, everyone that signs up for tryouts completes the first 2 steps. So everyone that signs up will go through our physical testing, in which we test a variety of different physical skills, including spike touch, but also agility, height, etc., etc. And everyone will go through what is called our fundamental skill assessment, in which our coaches evaluate each athlete on the four fundamental skills in volleyball, being forearm passing, overhead setting, serving, and approach and spike. After the athletes have done those, so the physical testing is a single session, and the fundamental skill assessment are 2 on-court sessions. After those have been completed, there's 3 different things that might happen. You will either, at that point, receive a learn to play and or recreational recommendation. It's important to understand why we call it a recommendation and not an offer. Is if you receive a learn to play and recreational recommendation, that does not guarantee that you have a spot in one of our local programs, one of our learn to play and recreational programs. If you are unsure whether you will be selected to a competitive program at tryouts, we highly recommend that you sign up for a learn to play or recreational program before, as soon as possible. If you do get selected to a competitive program, you can reach out to us and we will give you a full refund to your learn to play or recreational program, even if it doesn't fit our return policy. So we highly recommend that if you are unsure whether you will be selected to a competitive program, to sign up for a learn to play or recreational program. Those links have all been posted. You can go on, you can register to both of them right now. And again, if you do get selected, congratulations, we will give you a refund for your learn to play or recreational program, or we'll potentially be able to transfer some of the funds to make sure that covers your competitive fees. So that's one of the options. After the physical testing and the fundamental skill assessment, you receive your report in which you can see all your scores, where you ranked within your age group, et cetera, et cetera. And that might come with a learn to play and recreational recommendation. The other option is that you receive an offer to our regional programs right after that stage. As I mentioned, our regional programs are regional training centers, are that first competitive level, and it's possible that you receive an offer to that program right after the physical testing and the fundamental skill assessment. The third option that you can receive at that point is that you are invited to the national and provincial assessment. If you are invited to that, you will do 2 more on-court sessions, right? So you will be asked to come back and to do 2 more on-court sessions. After those sessions have been completed, there are 3 different outcomes that can happen at that time. You either receive an offer for a national program, or you receive an offer for a provincial program, or you receive an offer for a regional program. So it's important to understand that if you get invited to a national and provincial assessment, you are guaranteed to get a competitive offer. That assessment phase is to determine what program that offer will be for. So, as I mentioned, after the fundamental skill assessments, the first selections are made. You receive one of those 3, and then some athletes will move on to the national provincial assessment. So the way that works is that the number of spots in national and provincial teams plus about 25% of athletes will move on to that phase. So I try to kind of make it so that I can explain it. If we have an age group where we are offering 10 athletes a national program, 10 athletes a provincial program, and 24 athletes a regional program, and we have a total number of athletes that are trying out in that age group of 80. The way it works is that after that fundamental skill assessment, everyone who is ranked 1 through 25 in the software that we use for the physical testing and the fundamental skill assessment will receive an invite to the national and provincial assessment. That is 20 spots plus 25% of that. Athletes ranked 25 to 48 are offered spots to the regional program, and athletes 49 to 80 will be ranked 49 to 80 will be send a learn to play and recommend a recreational recommendation. If there are athletes that do not accept their offer at national, provincial, or regionals, those spots will be filled based on that ranking from the learn to play and recreational recommendation. So it's possible that you receive a learn to play and recreational recommendation, but then a couple days later, you will get another message saying, congratulations, we are able to offer you a spot in a regional program. Athletes that are in the national and provincial assessment portion that are not selected for a national or provincial team will automatically receive a regional offer. So just to be clear again, if you are invited to the national provincial assessment, you will everyone in that part will receive a competitive offer. As I mentioned, there's with the different outcomes, the key part that I'll point out is that if you receive a national or provincial offer, it will include things like the team name, the age category, the name of the head coach, and there will be a non-refundable deposit when you receive the offers. This is an incorrect statement. We will try and provide a minimum of 24 hours of for acceptance, or but it may be more. The rule or the way that tryouts are set up now, last year we were able to offer 48 hours for the acceptance. This year that will be 24 hours. So I want to be very clear. This is a typo on the presentation. We'll try and provide 24 hours for the acceptance. If possible, we will try to give more time, but you should get at least 24 hours. And just a final reminder, again, for the learn to play and recreational registration is that participating in tryouts does not guarantee a place in a learn to play or recreational program. Those are separate in terms of the local and the competitive, as we talked about competitive required tryout. So again, want to reiterate that if you are unsure about your chances to be selected into a competitive program, we highly, highly recommend to sign up for a Learn to Play program as well as tryouts, and then we will give you a full refund if you are selected to a competitive program. The schedule for tryouts and for any other events that are coming up will be posted on the website soon. For now, the main things will be the registration links, which have been posted in the Q&A to try so that you can sign up for both tryouts and our Learn to Play and recreational programs. And as we get more of the dates and we get more of our schedule confirmed, we will make sure to post that on the website. I think there were some, Anthony in his pinned post in the Q&A has already provided a link to the tryout section of our website. Most of the information will be in there. And with that, we have reached the end of our presentation, and I will look at the hardworking staff who have been answering a bunch of questions from the Q&A to see if there's any questions that need to be raised that are relevant to everyone in the call. All right, I mean, that's hopefully a good sign that there's not that many questions. We will continue to answer questions in the Q&A, so we will stay online for a little bit longer. So if you have any specific questions, please make sure to ask them in the Q&A, and we'll be there. But that concludes our presentation. Thank everyone for attending, and we are very excited to see everyone back on a court in the fall. Uh, all right, I'm seeing some questions coming in about the number of girls teams. I'm gonna ask maybe Paula or Evan, any specific age groups surrounding that, but most of the questions are coming in.
Hey, Yella. So the most one I'm seeing at the moment is for the U17-18 girls teams.
All right. Yeah, so I briefly talked about our process for our program distribution, and I fully understand the questions surrounding the 17 U girls. So as I mentioned, our main one of our main driving factors for the program distribution has to do with the demand of the programs. We know that our 16U division is one of the bigger divisions, especially on the girls' side. But in the last 2 years, we've seen that the demand for programs at both the boys and the girls' side at the 17U division has been almost equal. So in 2023, in fall tryouts, we had the same number of boys and girls tryout at 17U. And in 2024, that ratio is about 1.3 to 1. That's been a major determining factor for the program distribution at that age group. But as I mentioned earlier, I can understand how potentially seeing the number of programs or teams at a certain age group might dissuade athletes from signing up for tryouts. I would highly recommend that anyone who is interested in playing competitive to sign up for the tryouts, as that gives us the best indication of what the true demand is and allows us to adapt our program distribution to the demand as best as possible. So if I think it's really important that for us to make the best decisions if we have the best idea and the best indication of what number of athletes want to try out. So I would, like I said, I would encourage everyone to go and sign up for tryouts, especially if you're in that age group, and that way we can try and adjust our program distribution when needed.
Yella, do you want to discuss about if people are missing tryouts or they know that they have a conflict?
Yeah, great question. So there's a couple of steps in tryouts that you cannot miss. Most importantly, it's that check-in event where we check the MRS registration. We really want to make sure that it becomes really difficult to miss those kinds of things. If we're talking about the physical testing, if you know beforehand that you're going to not be available at the time that your age group and gender is supposed to do that, please reach out to us as soon as possible, and we will be able to try and accommodate that. If you are missing any of the on-court sessions, especially if it's because of a conflict with other sports or other volleyball organizations, then please, again, let us know as soon as possible. However, we have set up our system in a way that allows that even in the case of missing one of the 2 on-court sessions, your scores won't negatively be impacted by you missing that one session. So the system is set up in a way where it corrects for any missing scores, or if you haven't been evaluated by as many people, or etc. So if we know in advance and we're aware of any kind of conflicts, that allows us to make sure that we're to try and accommodate in a way that works best. And I guess that similar logic extends to athletes who are potentially injured or injured, either get injured or are injured going into tryouts. If you let us know, so please, first of all, you need to sign up and you need to do all the steps beforehand. But if you can let us know early enough, then it helps us with trying to find accommodations. So whether that is modifying any of the drills, if there's like a partial injuries, like certain skills can't be executed, whether it's talking to coaches from previous years about their experiences and what their indication would be, or whether it would be using scores from previous tryouts or evaluation moments instead of the ones in the fall. So for everyone, whether you have a conflict, whether you're injured, so in fact, if you're missing any part of tryouts, please sign up, follow all the steps all the way up until the actual on-court and physical testing. And then please let us know as soon as possible in terms of, so that we can try and find the accommodations. Best people to reach out to would be either myself or Paula, or again, if you're not really sure, if you just email info@maverickvolleyball.ca, then we can distribute the email to the right person. Looking if there's any other common questions that would benefit from being addressed here. Right, as I mentioned before, we will stay on the call for a little bit to answer any other questions that come up. If you find that your question wasn't answered during the town hall, either because we missed it or we didn't have enough time to write out a full response or anything like that, reach out to the right person or to info@maverickvolleyball.ca so that we can make sure to answer your question in full. And yeah, like I said, we will be here a little bit longer to answer emails. But